Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of this segment addition postulate. We're going to do some segments now that have equations in them. So first, on our notes, number 1, I have GH is 7, HI is X, GI, the whole thing, is 20, and X equals blank. And we're also trying to find HI, which in this case is the same thing. Okay, X is just X and X is HI. It's going to be a little bit different on the other examples, but for number 1, it's going to be the same thing. So I want you guys to make an equation. All right, I don't want to see just subtraction, which you could do, 20 minus 7 get you 13. I want you to set up an equation here for the first 3 because it's going to make us a lot easier setting up the other ones. So we have X, this piece, plus 7, the other piece. And yes, you could put 7 plus X, but if you put X first, it's just what you guys are used to. So we have X plus 7 equals the whole thing. Here, the whole thing is 20. So from here to here is 20 equals 20. Okay. Now we have a one-step equation, which you should be used to from Algebra 1. To get rid of that plus 7, we're going to minus 7 from both sides, and we'll get X equals 13 units. And coincidentally, HI is also going to be 13. So we'll have HI equals 13 units. In this case, they are the same. Not always going to be the same, but in this case, they are. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to try 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is your sheet. These are your actual questions. So I want you to do number 1 is just like what we just did here. And then 2 and 3 are also very similar. Solve for Z, solve for Y. They're going to be the same thing as JK and BC. All right, so go ahead and pause the video. You guys do 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now if you're back, number 2 now is going to look a little bit different. Number 2, this is X plus 3 instead of just X. So for number 2, it's going to be the same thing, except I have, instead of X, I have X plus 3. So we have X plus 3 plus 7, okay, the two pieces, equals my whole thing, which is GI. In this case, is 30. Okay. Now here, I can combine my like terms first. I'm going to combine a positive 3 with a positive 7. They're on the same side of the equal sign. Okay, and we get X plus 10 equals 30. Now we subtract 10 from both sides, and we get X equals 20. But now for HI, well, HI is X plus 3. So HI is X plus 3, but I know what X is. X is 20. And don't forget, we're going to label that with units. So this is going to be 20 plus 3, which is 23 units. Okay, so the variable and the segment length are not always the same. They're only the same if the variable is already by itself. Also, too, here, if you subtract 7 from both sides and then subtract 3 from both sides, that's also perfectly fine if you do it that way. So now what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to do numbers 4 and 5. So 4 and 5 are just like what we did here on number 2. All right, so pause the video and try 4 and 5. Okay, now if you're back, number 3 now, instead of having x plus something, I have x minus something. Okay, so that's what's changing here from number 3 on the notes. So it's, again, same idea. I have the two pieces. I'm going to still add those together. So I have x minus 10, right, plus 7 equals my whole thing, which in this case is 35. From G to I is 35. Now you got to be a little bit careful when you combine your like terms here. I'm actually going to show it both ways. So I'm going to show this two different ways. So we have negative 10 and positive 7 is going to get me a negative 3. If you're a little on trying to combine negatives and positives, you can, I'm just going to rewrite this here. What you can do is you can say, okay, I'm going to add 10 to both sides, and we'll get x plus 7 comes down, equals 45. Now here, we're going to add 3 and add 3. So we'll get x equals 38. And here we're going to minus 7 and minus 7. And oh, look, x is still 38. So if you don't like to combine, okay, you don't have to combine. You can just add over, and in this case, then subtract over. Or you could have subtracted the 7 first and then added the 10. It doesn't matter. Whichever way works for you, it doesn't matter. I don't care which one you do. So now we have x equals 38. That's an ugly 8. Let me make that a little bit better. Okay, so we have x equals 38. And after we find x, we got to find hi. So hi equals x minus 10. That's an 18. That's not a 10. There we go. Hi equals x minus 10, which is going to be 38 minus 10, which is 28. And again, don't forget units here, and units here. Again, you're not solving this both ways. Okay, you pick one. Either do it this way or do it that way, whichever one you like. I just showed you two different ways. All right, so go ahead and you do numbers 6 and 7, which is going to be pretty much exactly the same thing. Watch your negatives. Okay, one of these, if you do it this way, one of these will get you like a negative number. The other one gets you a positive number. Okay, so just remember that if I had, I'm going to break the board, I'm going to write on this. If I had x plus 13 minus 6 equals 10, right? Positive 13 and negative 6, positive's bigger here. So this is actually x plus 7 equals 10. Okay, so just be careful if you combine those negatives, just be careful.